Hello from Florence, Italy. Buonasera dall'Italia. Here it's 9 p.m. My name is Elia Nichols, and I believe Terry Sidford is now joining us. Terry, are you here?
I am here. How's everyone? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for inviting me. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited for today and for you joining us from Florence, Italy. As Elia told you, I live in Park City, Utah, and my name is Terry Sidford. I am a speaker, author, and life coach. And we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and how it's bringing our countries together and our world. And we're also going to be talking about different coping mechanisms that we have learned through talking with each other and our experiences in this unprecedented time. So first of all, I'd like to start by having Elia talk to us a little bit about her background.
Sure. So my name is Elia Nichols. I am an actress and a speaker and communication coach. I'm originally from Louisiana, but I've lived in Florence, Italy for 15 years. And I have 2 young kids and a wonderful husband named Michele, and that's me. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Elia. I want to ask you a little bit about when you first were quarantined in Italy, and what was your first thoughts about it? Did you believe that COVID-19 was something serious or something that you had to really pay attention to? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. We first heard about COVID-19 in Italy around mid-February. Of course, we already knew about it from China and everything, but we didn't, really start kind of taking it seriously in Italy until mid-February. We were quarantined March 5th. So I have officially been quarantined for 35 days now in my house. And at the beginning, we passed through a lot of emotions. First, we went through fear and panic, which I know happened in the United States as well. And there was the crazy buying everything in stores and hunkering down and everything. And then we started to see the effects of the kind of the closures that the government was asking Italians to do. So close your shops, stay at home, don't go to work. And we started to see the effects of that. I have a lot of friends who are tour guides, who own hotels, who own restaurants that are specifically for tourists. And literally in 2 or 3 days' time, they had no work. They had cancellations for the next 3 months. They literally in three days' time lost all of their work for the next 3 months. They literally did not have a tour from one day to the next, and started freaking out and started saying, "How am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to survive?" And to this day, they have no idea how, right? Because you can't even fly into Italy or out right now, really. I mean, you can, but it's not, tourists aren't doing it, right? So then we started becoming angry. There was a lot of anger because at that time we kept saying, but this is just a flu, right? This is just a bad flu and they just don't have a vaccine yet. So people are going to go bankrupt and the country is going to crash and collapse and shut down because of a flu. And we were really angry. And then when you start seeing the numbers, right? The numbers of deaths. And in Italy, of course, it was thousands and thousands and thousands. You start to take it seriously. And I remember one night, it was March 3rd, our president of Italy, Conte, got on the TV and he was really angry. He was really upset and disappointed and angry at the Italians. And he said over and over, you have to stay at home. If you want to save your people, you must stay at home. And that's when they shut down the schools and they said no one can go to work from tomorrow on, except for the people, that are in the hospitals, supermarkets, pharmacies. And that's when it really struck us. That's when we really, at 11 o'clock, he made the announcement at 11 o'clock at night. We looked at each other, my husband and I, we went, oh my gosh. Okay, this is real, and it started sinking in and affecting us in a different way.
So it sounds like Italy came down hard and fast, and unlike the United States, where we were kind of in denial ourselves. So when did it really become real? That when everything did shut down, or when the minister got on TV and just said, listen, this is serious and you've got to take it serious?
I think that's when it became real, when he finally closed down the schools, because for about 2 weeks he had been saying, um, you need to stay at home. Everybody needs to stay home. Please stay at home. Please, if you can work from home, please work at home. And there was always these kind of suggestions. And in 2 regions in Italy, they had actually closed. They had already been an official lockdown. You know, where Bergamo and Milan, which are the worst hit. They were in official lockdown already. But you know, it's until you are. We were in denial for a long time, for sure. In fact, I could see it coming in America. I could see the Americans being like, well, I don't know, we'll see, this, and that's exactly how we responded. I mean, after the second mandate where the president said, please stay at home, we went to a barbecue. With 15 other people, and then 4 days later, schools were canceled, and we went, oh, that was really stupid, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really stupid.
Wow. Well, the same thing's happening here, Elia. I mean, we've done the same things, same mistakes of, people that don't have a fever, they're not contagious, things like that. And then later on we found out, oh no, they can be a carrier. And so it just feels like we've all had this up and down emotions around this, because you get one set of information in the beginning and then it changes.
Right.
And you just don't know what's real.
The whole problem, right, is that this has never happened to anybody before in the world. And so it's all uncertain and all new, and you don't know what to believe or not. Terry, what is the current state right now in Park City, or, how much is in lockdown? How much can you actually do and not do?
Right now, we're in a smaller community. We're in the ski community. And because we had a lot of international travelers visiting here, we had more cases per capita. And they locked us down as far as it's stay at home is what they call it here. They ask us to try not to visit and go down to any other cities or any other people in any other cities, even 20 minutes away, to come visit us. We can go to the grocery store and we can go to the doctor's office. And for us, that feels pretty restrictive. Yeah. I don't know how that compares to what you've been feeling. And we went through different stages of emotions as well. And then they keep extending it. And I think when they extend it for another month, that's when your heart drops, and it's almost like this endless place. Like, will this ever
absolutely
end?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. About day 8 of real quarantine, so whatever, March 11th, something, I actually had a panic attack, and I've only had one panic attack in my life, and I could, so you never forget. If you've ever had a panic attack, you never forget what that feels like. And it started coming on, and I was alone with the kids at home. My husband was at work, and I called him. I said, you gotta come home right now, and he came home and took the kids. And it took me hours to calm down. And I realized that, I hadn't been alone. My children are 2 and 5, so they never leave you alone. You can't even take a shower without them walking in, right? So I hadn't been alone. I hadn't had one moment by myself in 8 days, and that's not okay. I feel like that's not good for anyone.
Not okay. Not okay.
And so that was part of it, the strength. But then you start to realize what loss does to you.
Yes.
Loss of lives, loss of money, loss of any kind of stability, loss of job, loss of social connection, right? Of seeing people.
Yes.
And I'm lucky because I live in the countryside right outside of Florence. So we have a yard. We can go walking on our back beautiful country road, and no one can, the cops can't get us, But the people that live in Florence, it's like living in New York. Tiny apartments in big apartment buildings, and they cannot get outside. They cannot go outside. They will be fined if they go outside. So can you imagine if I were in the center? I have friends that have 2 toddlers and haven't been outside in 34 days. Do you know what that means? Right? I mean, it's insanity. So I just
it's hard to comprehend.
It's so, and we started calling it the fog. We call this emotional state. It's not really depression. Maybe it is, but it doesn't feel the same as depression. We feel like it's this fog where you can't really be productive, and you don't totally understand what's going on, and you know what I mean? Like your emotions are up and down every 30 minutes. You're fine, and then you're not, and then this moodiness. I don't know if you're there yet. Are you there yet?
We are. And I would love anybody that's joining us today. Tell us where you're from, send us an emoji or a question. But this is what I think is so fascinating, is that we're hearing the exact same thing here. I'm hearing it from my friends, my clients.
Really?
Where the exact same words that you're using. I'm in a fog. I have no idea. Every day kind of feels like Groundhog Day. I can't focus. My emotions are one day fine. The next day I'm just completely, I have no idea. I have these unknown feelings and emotions coming up, and I just am not myself. And,
yes.
And that type of thing. So yes, we are absolutely in the fog phase. Yeah. And I'm wondering what the next phase is, since you're just a little bit ahead of us.
Right. So,
and maybe
the next phase is reality, right? Which is not necessarily fun, the reality of it. I mean, yesterday we got the news that probably schools will be canceled for the rest of the year, which means that if anyone has children, one of you in the family, if you're not a single parent, which is obviously so much more difficult, will not work until September.
Right. Right.
That's a whole nother thing to get used to. Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing. You know, maybe there's people that are listening right now that they do not have a job, they're struggling. And I think hopefully we can bring some kind of peace that we're all kind of in this together right now.
Absolutely.
And I know some people's struggles are harder and more difficult than ours, but that as a world and a community, I'm hoping that we can shine some light a little bit on some coping mechanisms. And the different, what I'm learning so far is that there's different phases to this in our emotional state. You know, it's shock, anger, denial,
panic, fear, right? Those are the
panic, fear, and then kind of settling into reality. Okay, this is what we're dealing with, and how do we create a new normal? And how long is this going to go? And what if I did lose my career and I don't know if I'm going to have it back, or my job? And, you know, that's something that we're going to be discussing a little bit more about. But I think, Elia, I don't know, how has this really changed?
Curious. Can I ask you actually, Terry,
sure.
Since you're a coach, I mean, since you're a life coach, what advice have you been giving to your clients right now on how to deal with this in a beneficial way, both personally and professionally?
I really have talked about feeling the feelings, because we have unknown feelings that we haven't dealt with. We have not gone through this before. This is unprecedented. And so feel whatever feelings you're having, and then try to look on the other side, maybe something that makes you feel optimistic or grateful, and or go do something for someone else. And don't think too far ahead of yourself. If you think about the next week, the next month, or even the next day sometimes, or even the next hour.
Absolutely. That is so true. Wow.
Yes. So it's really simple. No, it's simplified.
I literally can't think ahead. And actually that's made things simpler.
Yes. And I would like to, Carla Olson, she said that something that she did, she's tuning in here, and she lives in Park City, Utah. And she is saying, I start writing down 5 things that I'm grateful for each day. So when I come out of this, I will remember the good things. I don't want to go back to my overscheduled life. I love making more time to connect with my kids. I'm less stressed. I'm not rushed, and I'm more present. I like this new me.
Oh, that's amazing. Carla, you're amazing. And we should all try and be like Carla, because you have to find the silver linings in this. And there are many, right? There are many. Every day is very hard, I've found, but there are so many silver linings, and they're sometimes surprising. You know, I mean, I too, Carla, have felt, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I feel like I've gotten to know my children better. And I'm with my children all the time, but this is different, right? Because they don't go to school, I'm with them a lot. And I really have gotten to know them better. And because I'm more present, I've taught my son his letters, and he rides his bike better. And that makes you feel better as a parent, right? And And those are amazing. There's a lot, I've had a lot of silver linings. What about you, Terry? What have been yours?
Oh, so many. I feel more connected to day-to-day life and the things that are important to me. And even my grown children, which are they're 30 minutes away in Salt Lake City, and I've missed their birthdays, but we've been able to do this FaceTime or virtual chats, and it's more focused conversation because it's different. It's very different. And so I appreciate our conversations more, even with my extended family and my husband, and I'm enjoying the simple life of cooking, conversations, and just like Carla said too, the schedule thing. I'm not going to miss having time regulate what I do every day versus I'm going to regulate what I do with my time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
In fact, one of our listeners, Kirsty Milligan, from Florence, wrote, basically you're saying mindfulness, and that's exactly right. That we are being given an opportunity, and we have the time to pay more attention to ourselves and each other and our earth, and figure out what we really need and what the priorities really are. So these are amazing gifts and opportunities, and those are the silver linings. I mean, there are other things that I feel like, other coping mechanisms that I've had to find, because it's so important to be grateful every day. But of course, as we said, we have these moods, right? And it's not enough. So I know I've rediscovered meditation. I've never been a good meditator, and I'm now very good at it. It's the only thing that has given me any calm. And
I'm with you on that, Elia. I've been doing that too. Yeah. And we have to calm our minds and be present. And I think meditation is a great tool for that. What other things have you used? Because I know you've been doing this longer than we have.
Yes. So I exercise. I was, before quarantine, days, I took boot camp twice a week. So now we do it by Zoom. Our teacher arranged it, and we can all see each other's faces in the little Zoom boxes, and we do it twice a week. And that's been amazing for me. What else? I do think it's important to get up in the morning and get dressed and get out of your sweatpants. And although, of course, I don't always, but recently I told my kids, actually today I told my kids, I said, let's get dressed. It was, like 10 a.m. and my little boy looked at me and goes, why? Where are we going? I went, well, we're not going anywhere. That's a good point, but it will make us feel better. Of course, I was saying that for myself.
Exactly.
For him, but it did make me feel better.
It's
and
true.
Terry, sorry, go on.
No, it's true. I mean, you could really get in a funk here. Like, it just doesn't matter. Oh, my hair doesn't look great. I just don't care anymore. I don't need to exercise. I can eat what I want. And then you kind of have a reality like, no, this is not going to be like this forever, I hope. And we want to come out better. Right.
Right, exactly. I mean, we've gotten all these amazing, memes and stuff that we're all passing around. And of course, there's the quarantini, right? The drink that is not the martini, but the quarantini. And here in Italy, we had the first 3 weeks where we were all like, let's Zoom and have our quarantinis together. And it was a way of reconnecting and taking off the load, right? Taking off the pressure. But I have to say that I can't really do that anymore. The drinking, I love a good glass of wine, but it's actually not been positive for me. It brings me down a lot. And again, I really like a good glass of wine, but I can't really do it right now. I noticed with the quarantini thing, I would wake up in the morning, even after one glass of wine, and just feel bad. So I think we have to revisit, really find a new schedule that works for us now, because this is not the same world as it was 5 weeks ago. We are not the same people as we were 5 weeks ago, and we probably will never be again. I mean, I really don't think the world will ever be the same again, and maybe that's not a bad thing.
Right. I do think there's some things that we're realizing that we didn't really need to be happy. And we're realizing what we do need to have to be happy. And it's very simple things in life. And we have so many comments coming in, which is so great, which I would love to address. What I want to also ask you is, I think I'm learning that communities, that we need each other. That's what I'm learning.
Absolutely.
And I know that Italy has a certain way, a certain community, a certain heart of bringing everyone together. And I would love to hear just a little bit more about how that unique culture has been through a lot, adversity, right?
Yeah.
Tell me more about Italy and how they're handling this.
Yeah, tough times are actually when Italians are at their best. Italians, the Italian community is staying strong basically by drawing on their roots. Italians are no strangers to tough times. They've gone through World War I, World War II on their territory, economic crashes here and there. They know how to make their money last a long way, and they're very passionate. They love food, they love drink, they love beauty, they love anything related to the senses. So what was really interesting was that when American supermarkets were selling out of toilet paper, Italian supermarkets were selling out of flour and yeast because people were just cooking. They were just cooking for each other, and pasta. The pasta shelves were empty, but the toilet paper was there, and lots of other
hysterical.
And I just thought that was so representative of the Italian people. They hunker down and they cook for each other and they sing and they dance. So you all saw, I'm sure, the amazing videos, of the Italians getting on their balconies in the big building. Most buildings in Italy, most residential buildings have these internal courtyards. So you can look across the ways. And I have so many friends who live in Florence who would send me videos from literally their building that day. And there's this man who's clearly a professional musician, he has a speaker out and a microphone, he's playing, and they're all finally smiling again and sharing this amazing sense of community that I believe we've refound. Because honestly, there has been I think, like the whole world, a lot of individualism in the past years, and this has brought an enormous sense of solidarity. I mean, we are staying at home to help our fellow Italians, and that is the truth. Because we all recognize that losing some temporary freedom by going outside and doing whatever I want, or by going to see my mother-in-law or my friend, is putting at risk many other people in this country. And so we have bonded together in, I'm going to stay at home because I want to protect and save the lives of my fellow Italians. I don't know if that's how it is in America, or not, but that's definitely been the response here.
I love that, Elia. I do. And I love the heart of Italy so much. I mean, it was so heartwarming to hear that music and everyone out on their balconies. And I have seen something I know that America, they love community, but it just seems so separate. Can you still see me?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I lost you. Oh, now I can't see you. We lost Terry for a second. We'll try and get her back. Let's see. I wanted to read one of these comments here that Renee says, I've loved this time with my kids so much that I'm considering pulling them out of full-time daycare after this is over. Looking for some alternatives, so I'm cutting down commute time and really treasure this time, and that I am able to invest in them at this formative age. And you're completely right, Renee. I mean, that's the silver lining, isn't it? And I think until we're given this shock and this shake that we have been given by COVID-19, we just don't even know what we're missing out on, do we? It's really been rather profound, I think. Oh, there you are, Terry.
Yes, I'm glad I'm back. Okay, what
I
was
just reading. I was just reading a comment from one of our listeners, Renee, who has said that she's actually enjoyed her time with her young kids so much that she's thinking of pulling them out of daycare when this is all over, because it's been so incredible for her.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. I mean, who would have thought that, right?
What an opportunity that we've been given, right?
Yes. I do think that when we look back on this, we're going to see the gift in this adversity, or this place that we have never experienced before. And we have to stay strong. We have to stay positive. And I think I was answering before I was disconnected about our community in the United States.
Exactly.
And I have seen things I never imagined would happen here. Creativity, people reaching out in such creative ways, humor. I mean, the humor has really helped a lot, the funny humor. So I do think that we are coming together in the United States. I really feel that sense of
Yeah.
community.
Good. I think America always rallies together. I mean, I'm from Louisiana, which is hurricane land, and you see the best of humanity in moments like this. I've always thought Americans were great at that. So I have no doubt. Terry, I actually have a question for you from Marco in Florence, Italy.
Yes.
He just wrote and said, if an American has COVID-19 and does not have medical insurance or cannot afford treatment, what happens to them right now? Are they being turned away from hospitals? And I did not know the answer to that. Do you?
Thank you so much for
know?
that question. It's a great question that I don't have the exact answer to. I have heard that it's been addressed and that they're not turning people away and that they will deal with their insurance after the fact. And so we don't know what that means. Like, does that mean they're going to waive it because it was, diagnosed with, COVID-19 or not? We don't know. So I'm sure that they will do something, but it's not clear. And they're not turning people away because, of course, they want to treat this and get it under control. So that's their main objective, and they'll deal with that after the fact.
Okay.
That's what I know so far. If anybody knows anything else, please chime in.
Please let us know. Yeah, I'd be very curious.
Yes.
Good.
Absolutely. And let's see, what other questions do I have for you? So I'd just like to know, also, do you know that they're talking about the second phase, that Italy might be going into a second phase? How much longer are you going to be in quarantine, or do you know that yet?
Right. So we finally, on around March 30th, the numbers of new cases started dropping. So that we had been quarantined for 25 days at that point. Now, when I say the number of new cases, that meant instead of 6,800, it was 4,500 per day. So this is not positive necessarily. It was positive, but not, you have to put everything in perspective. And since then, though, the numbers have steadily, slowly gone down. We're still at like 4,500 new cases a day, but they have steadily gone down. So clearly staying at home is working.
Good.
And yeah. And, it's really shocking to me that Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England, who, originally said, we're not going to stay at home. We're not going to let our country close. We're going to all stay out and get it and find it and get an immunity to it. And now he has it and he's in ICU, right? So that is, I think, I'm not a scientist, but I think clearly the staying home works. So that was the first phase, right? The second phase, now that the numbers are going down, we had an announcement 2 nights ago from our Prime Minister that probably schools will be canceled for the rest of the year. That was very hard to hear. And that is to obviously prevent spread, but also that it returns, right? That the cases start spiking again. And the other part of the phase is that the government is now starting to find relief packages. So certain individuals in Italy who are basically like freelance workers, freelance people can ask for 600 to 800 euro a month to help them because we can't work,
Absolutely.
And a lot of businesses are getting help from the government. They're slowly unrolling these packages. So that's kind of phase 2. But that still means that we're staying at home. The next announcement supposedly will come after Easter. And obviously we're all thinking, well, when are we going to at least be able to, if it's not going back to school, when are stores going to be able to open again and business is going to be able to open again? And supposedly that will be there will be a slow reopening of everything. So, a few people, a few categories, age groups at a time, but it hasn't been officially announced. But that's kind of the talk.
Yeah, so you don't really know when the end point is at this point.
No, we have no idea what the end point is. They are literally saying that perhaps in September, we might still not go back to school and might still be doing distance learning. So there is and that's one of the hardest things on a day-to-day basis of dealing with this, right? Is that there is no real light at the end of the tunnel. And what does that do to us mentally for our mental health? It's not good. So that's why your advice to take every day, a day at a time, I think is absolutely correct because
yes, And I really thought you
Can't
had
think
some
too
kind of an
much.
endpoint. I mean, I think that is the thing, that it just seems like it's endless. So I think the more that we can be in present time, the better off we'll be, the more well-being we
sure.
will have.
For
And,
sure.
you know, I think there's a great practice of really seeing a gift and being okay, living outside of our comfort zone and in the unknown, which a lot of us, we're used to having a prediction of what our life looks like, what is going to happen, what vacations are we going to go on the whole year. Some people have their whole year
Of
planned
course.
out. Right now, we don't even know what's going to be in the grocery store. I was shocked to go to the grocery store yesterday and find out that because you had told me about the egg situation. I'm like, oh, we have plenty of eggs, but not any toilet paper, that there was no eggs. So
Because
we're
of
kind
Easter,
of
probably, right? Because
probably
everybody's probably
Easter.
dyeing their eggs. What else are you
Right.
going to do at home?
Right. So the rationing, you know, people only get a certain amount that leave the grocery store, but this is our new
and
reality right now.
I think you actually, you made me think about one of the other things that we are right now coming to terms with, and it's right now. So I think for you, again, it'll be in, you know, probably 2 or 3 weeks, is this idea of surrendering. Not giving up, but surrendering and just letting the world kind of take over for us and not trying to control everything, because we have no control right now. And I think that's where a lot of my anxiety was coming from, that I was still trying to maintain the control that I used to have, and it wasn't working, and it was frustrating, and it was painful. And so we all now, all my friends, like in our chats, we're all talking about the word of the day, the word of the week is just surrender. Just let it go.
Yes.
It's hard to do, but it's been helpful, I have to say, to take the pressure off that I can't be as productive as I'm 10% as productive as I used to be. That's a lot to let go of.
It is. It is. I think you reminded me of one key thing of the takeaways. In addition to that, is to really be kind to ourselves. None of us are normal. Okay, I want to say it again. None of us are normal right now. And it's okay. And you know that you're not alone in this fog and these different stages that we're all going through. But we're together as humans. It doesn't matter what country we come from. We're all dealing with this right now. And so we're hoping that this conversation brings us together, let you know that we're all going through this, and maybe gives you a few ideas of how to handle it. There's so many comments going on right now. I would love to address some of them. And if we don't address them during our session today, then please contact us and we will respond to you offline. But one thing I want to ask from you before we start maybe answering a couple more questions that are coming in, and then wrap it up for everyone, is what advice would you tell us from Italy to the United States? What do you want us to know?
Okay, well, I think what I want to say is that it's really important to be realistic. Things are already getting much worse in the United States. You feel that we're all seeing the numbers. And I unfortunately have to say that it will continue to get much worse. You're kind of at the beginning, and this will be shocking, and it will be terrifying. It will hit you to your core. I mean, we all here know somebody that has died. And the only way to beat this disease until a vaccine is found is to stay at home. Please stay at home. That does not mean grouping with 5 people. Coronavirus loves groups of 5 people. I mean, that's a joke. That's a joke. Our social distance is 3 feet, but China says 4.5 meters. You can't even run outside in Italy. You can't go for a run, because if you pass somebody who's running at the same time and breathes out, you get what they have. Literally, that's why we can't run in Italy, because you can't go bicycling. You can't. It's so hard to stay home. No, you can't.
No, you can't go for a walk or bike. You can't jog, because we're still doing that.
You can go for a walk around your house, so around your tiny little block of the neighborhood. But you can only be outside for 30 minutes. You can walk your dog, and you can go outside with your children. But the playgrounds are closed. The parks are closed. There's no gathering. There's no grouping. You cannot be with more than one person. You cannot. Our friend went on a bike ride the other day. The police they caught him, and they said, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm going for a bike ride." And they said, you can't go for a bike ride. Did you not hear what the president of Italy said? And he went, well, I need to get some exercise. And he's like, go do exercise in your home. And they gave him a 250 € fine for bike riding
Wow.
by himself. So but again, this virus is not a joke, and it is not a flu, and it is killing hundreds of thousands of us. And the only way to stop it is to avoid people. So stay at home and take care of yourself and everybody else.
Thank you, Elia. Thank you so much. And one other thing that, we're just now wearing masks, and I think when you first were quarantined or locked down, everyone was given a mask to wear. So I think that's something now we're realizing we need to do as well, which is a strange feeling. But I think we need to look at the silver lining, what we're grateful for. And we have our families, we have our health, hopefully. And this is going to end. This is not going to last forever. And that's probably what I would like to tell the people anywhere that's listening, that we're one, we're human, we're dealing with this with similar emotions and feelings. And you're stronger than you think you are. You can get through this. We're going to get through this, but we need each other to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I've actually never felt closer to so many different people from all over than I have right now. I mean, we are online all day chatting, but in a different way, checking in with people, but really checking in with people. And at the same time, because of the fog, I'm not able to stay on my phone as much as I used to be. I can't. It's just it's
very
interesting.
Always
positive,
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, it just seems like, your ability to handle things is confined. It's less.
Very much, yeah.
And just know that that's okay. It's this is how we're dealing with the stress that we don't understand. So before we wrap up, Ellie, do you want to answer a couple of these questions that we're seeing here? And then I'd like to let everyone know that we're going to have this another event next week. We're going to try to continue this to kind of stay together. Would love your participation in that. And let's answer a few questions, and then we'll kind of wrap it up.
Sure. Actually, I just wanted to read this from a woman named Ingrid. This is a good time to reset and connect. And I love to be with the family and do things we did not do for a long time. But how can we keep this and not go back to this hectic life we were living and forget what we are now learning? I really hope that we can change together as a society. I think that's a really beautiful point that a lot of us here at least are questioning on a daily basis. We're in this rare moment where we have a choice to choose what our future is going to be like, right? And to choose what we're going to be like. And I don't think I know the answer to Ingrid yet, but I definitely think it's something that we all should reflect on. We're finally being given the time to stop and pause and reflect. And I think it's our responsibility to ourselves and to the world to do that, right?
Yes, it's a gift. We've been given a gift to reset, and we can do it differently when this is all over. We can come out better from this. And, if we're not taking the time to look at that right now, then we're missing an opportunity. We do have an opportunity here. So there's a silver lining, even though it's not easy. But I just want to know that my heart goes out to all of you, and that we all are together on this. Yeah. And we really do want to continue this conversation. Anything else you want to say, Elia? And we want to announce what we're going to be talking about next week, same time, same day.
I wanted to say, in fact, Julia Curtis wrote this amazing question. But Julia, next week, we actually wanted to announce that we're going to do another one of these. So we're going to do the same time, same place next week, 9 p.m. Italian time, 1 p.m. Mountain time, next Wednesday, April 15th. And the theme is actually work and opportunity in the time of coronavirus. So Terry and I will see you all hopefully next week. And Julia Curtis, we will answer your question then, because she had a brilliant question about since the world economy will never be the same, how do you suggest to modify our business models to adapt, especially working in Italy where tourism is huge? And that is an excellent question. Terry and I will be tackling that and more next week. So thank you for that.
Thank you for all your questions. There's so many, we could not get to them all, but we will. Please reach out to us offline, and we'd love to continue this conversation. And we are sending love, peace, and comfort to everyone out there. All right. Thanks so much. We will see you next time.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy.
Stay home.
Stay home. All right.
Everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Terry.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.